This is the latest Audi Q2, and I say latest because this is the latest facelifted version of the Audi Q2. It's not an all-new, brand new Audi Q2. The Q2 has been around since 2016. We reviewed it first off in 2018, and I thought back then it was a really good little compact SUV. It sits in the range of SUVs that Audi produce, as you're probably aware, the Q3, the Q5, the Q7 and the Q8. And believe it or not, even though it's small, it's the best selling in the entire range. Not in the entire Audi range, no, in actual fact, it sits third best in every car that Audi produce. So this Q2 is the third best selling car that they actually have. However, Audi have decided they don't want it anymore. I know, it's so sad because it's such a cute little, actually it's a practical little SUV. But they've decided, as of 2023, no more Q2s. Not for the foreseeable future anyway. I did hear a little whisper that in a couple of years they might reintroduce a revamped version of a Q2, but that's just hearsay at the moment. So for the time being, we've got to say goodbye to the Q2, which is, in a way, a great shame. And the only reason I can think is that, Audi and the way things are going in the motoring market are heading down the larger battery-powered SUV route, and perhaps that's where Audi wants to concentrate its efforts. And unfortunately, the Q2 is a fallout from that, and probably one of the first of many fallouts from that as well. So inevitably, we've got to say goodbye to the car, and I don't want to say goodbye to it without giving it a half-decent review, because you can still buy these cars throughout 2023, and I think it could be a good idea to actually go out and invest in one of these cars, because they're going to be quite sought after. Residual values on these cars are absolutely amazing, so why not go and get yourself one? Unfortunately, if you live in America or Canada, you're not going to be able to buy one because they don't sell the Q2 in either of those countries. But if you're here in Europe, it's a definite maybe get down and give one a test drive, in my opinion. So let's take a look around. Let's see what we think of the latest Audi Q2. You're watching me, AJ, on the Player YouTube channel. This is how a car should sound. Listen to this. I didn't really push it either. I was just having a really fun. Oh, really? So there you have it, guys. The Ferrari Roma.
I think it makes a good work.
Let's go, mate. Nice to see you. Show us your big chopper, your helicopter. So here we are, the Morgan Roadster. Hey guys, guess what? It's another morning here out in sunny France. One of the reasons I think the Audi Q2 has remained so popular with buyers is the fact that this car has had more facelifts than Madonna. Yes, it's been resculpted, it's been remodeled, it's been redesigned, but it's throughout the years has remained on point as a stylish, sporty SUV, like what we see here today. This is a culmination of a lot of work over the years. But isn't it worth it? Doesn't it look gorgeous? This latest car, this latest facelifted version. You've got this new aggressive front grille here. And now we're starting to get bits and pieces thrown in for the entry-level car. Things like LED headlights, reversing beepers, Android mirror and an Apple Play, cruise control, for example. On a standard car, on your entry-level car, you get 16-inch rims. You get a choice of 8 different colours. Black and white are included in the price. However, if you want the blues and greens and bits like that, you're going to pay a few £100 extra. It's no big deal at the end of the day. 7 different trim levels. Oh yes, entry-level car comes in at 24,500 UK pounds. I think that's a bargain for what you're getting here. top of the range, or kitchen sink level as I like to now call them, you will be talking £46,500 and upwards, depending on how you spec it. At the end of the day, the choice is yours. When it comes to choice, let's check out under the bonnet what the engine choices and the gearbox choices are. Bonnet release catch down here in the driver's footwell, you can't miss that. Single pull, nice and easy. Don't forget, if you're driving a left-hand drive version of this car, it's going to be in the passenger footwell because they're not going to swap it around. It costs too much money. The actual release catch itself for the bonnet is in the centre here, dead centre. Just reach in slightly and slide to the left. Simple as. You've got a nice gas strut on this bonnet as well. Normally only find them on much higher premium level cars, whereas on the Q2 you get it as standard. Speaking of standard, entry level engine is a 1 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine that develops around about 110 brake horsepower. In my opinion, it's slightly underpowered when you're fully loaded. I'd probably, something to consider, but maybe go for the 1.5 litre that we've got here. That's a 4-cylinder petrol engine that develops around about 150 brake horsepower. I think that's slightly better. It's in the mid-range there. If you want to go silly, you can get yourself a 2 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine that develops 296 brake horsepower, which in my humble opinion is way too powerful for a car like this. It's a bit of a waste, to be honest with you. I think this 1.5 litre is absolutely nails it. There is a 2 litre diesel engine that develops around 150 brake horsepower as well, so that option is there if you really want it. 2 gearbox, you've got the 6-speed manual, and you've got my favourite of all, you've got the 7-speed S Tronic, which we've got on this car, which I think is absolutely superb. But at the end of the day, guys, whatever you go for, choice is yours. I think the back of the Audi Q2 is really sporty. It's got a lovely style to it as well. I really love this large floaty rear screen, as I call it. I call it floaty because it sits in its own space. It doesn't have any of those horrible rubbers where the water used to get in and rust away at the paintwork. You've got this nice spoiler on the top here. It's not only creating aerodynamics, but it's also keeping that rear screen clean. And just to add to that, if you do need to clean the rear screen, all models get a wash and a wipe. You will have to pay extra for the privacy glass, but I think with this blue, that really offsets it nicely. But at the end of the day, if you want privacy glass, you can just pay extra, have it put on. Nice and simple. You've got LED lights either side at the back here, no fake vents and no fake exhaust here. It's all as you see it. Now, one good thing, all trim levels get an assisted electronic tail lift, which is great. Whether it's necessity or not, I don't know, but I quite like having it, and it's quite a nice height as well. You get the inevitable parcel shelf. Now, this is a shame because I have tested this. I'm not going to waste time and prove it to you. You just have to take my word for it. Unfortunately, it won't go underneath here. It's a split level boot floor on here as well. You would have thought there'd have been enough space, but sadly just the width is just that little bit too wide to get it under. So my problem with this is that when you're out and about and you do have to take this out and you're going to put a dog in there or a bike or something, unfortunately you're going to have to store this somewhere or just leave it at home. So it's a bit of a waste of space, to be honest with you. I'm going to put it round there out the way for the moment. In the old days we used to throw them away. Can't be bothered anymore, guys. I think you know my opinions on parcel shelves at the end of the day. So as I say, split level boot floor. You've got 405 litres of space in here. That's not bad. It's about 4 carry-on suitcases or 1 very large Labrador, should we say. You've got a 60-40 split on the seats there. Now, very easy to pop them down and just lean in like that, push the lever, push them forward, and away they go. And again, that side as well. Now you've got 1,050 litres of space. Now that's a big space. That's nice. You're going to get pretty much most of your everyday usage out of that. And I think you'll easily get a bike in there. You're easily going to get a couple of big, large Labradors in there as well. I'm disappointed there's no 12-volt adapter in here. I would have liked to have seen a 12-volt adapter. It's a family car. It's going to be used. You're going to be down pumping up the bike tyres, things like that. It's just handy to have. And yet there are shopping bag holders in there. Hey ho, it's just the way it goes. Let's take a look at this split level floor. So quite easy, it just drops down like that, and then you can lower that down and you get even more height in there. But it's cavernous, this at the back. It's got a lovely sort of entry, a height to it that you can get almost anything in there. The only thing I have noticed is very high. Look how high it is on it's almost up to my thigh there. So if you're going to be lifting something heavy up, it's going to be difficult to get it over, and then there's quite a lip in there as well. but you can't have everything, as they always say. Underneath here on your split level, I'm just going to raise it back up. It's quite simple just to pop it back in there. What that does do, that brings that up to a level where you haven't got such a drop, and it also makes it nice and level with those two back seats that have gone down. I'll pop this up because it's got a little thing there that holds it up. Inside here you can get, and I suggest you do, is get yourself a spare wheel, because these puncture repair kits that they come with, completely and utterly useless. Latex, pumping it into the tyre, ruins the tyre, it never works. Then you've got to pump it up. It's honestly, throw them away, get yourself 125 quid spare wheel to go in the back here. However, if you go for the upgraded sound system, the subwoofer is located in the back here. So it's going to be one of those decisions. Do you go for upgraded sound with a subwoofer, or do you get something more practical like a spare wheel? At the end of the day, the choice is yours, guys. Right, let's check in the back for the passengers, see what we think of that. And first up, I've got to say, it's quite tight. I'm not exactly the world's largest human being, but as you can see, there's not a lot of legroom, and that is in my normal driving position. I'm going to slightly turn around so I can face you and point out the various bits and pieces that don't exist in here. As in, there is no heating for the passengers in the back, there's no air vents or anything like that. There's no 12-volt adapters, there's no USBs, and there's quite a high transmission tunnel in the middle here. So I'm just wondering whether I'm going to struggle to climb over that to actually show you whether you can get a third person in the middle there. I'm going to try. You can do it, but you're going to be straddled here. I feel a bit like a cowboy. You could get away with it, I'm going to say that, but you're not going to have very large human beings either side of you, otherwise it's going to get very personal, if you know where I'm going. I'm going to slide back over here. So I'm not impressed really in the back here. It's one of the first times I've actually climbed in the back of a car, and I can say there isn't that much room. You've got your ISOFIX points. These are the, I think they're the poppy outy ones. They're difficult to get hold of as well. You can't actually ping them out, so I'm struggling there with those. So that's going to make life difficult if you're trying to put a baby seat in here, child seat or something. Oh, there you go, you can pull them eventually. They're very tight on your fingers though, and you're going to lose them. You know you're going to lose them. Or the child or a dog's going to get hold of them and chew them up or swallow. Oh yeah, God forbid that happens. There's no armrest in the middle here. There's no cup holder. To be honest, guys, this is basic, very, very basic, and not a lot of room. However, I think price range for an Audi, I wasn't really expecting much more, but at the end of the day, I would have liked a little bit more legroom. That's about all I can say in the back here. When you sit up front here in the Q2, you immediately realise why this car is so popular, because it is so comfortable and it is entirely built for the driver. You can feel this is a driver's car straight away, just by the shape of the steering wheel, the actual setup, the seating position. And I've got to say, the seats, the bolstering on these is absolutely superb. This particular car has got the added addition of the heated front seats as well. There's a few packs that we're going to talk about when we get the car out on the road. There's like a safety pack, and then there's a convenience pack and things like that. I'll tell you all about that as soon as we get the car out on the road. But in the meantime, let's just have a little look around what we've got here. Well, straight up, you're going to notice there's a decent up here, which is really nice. That's all controlled down here by a large central knob. Now, I do love a knob. You know I'm a big knob fan. And the reason I like knobs is because they're so easy to use, and you can scroll in and scroll out. I'm on the map at the moment. If you've got gloves on, if you've got wet hands or something, you can't beat getting hold of a knob, because if it's a TFT touchscreen, one, it'll make a mess of all the screen. Two, you're going to have to take your gloves off. Three, you're going to have to be looking down while you're driving along where you're going. With this, you can still drive, and then you can literally, it's in your peripheral vision, so to speak. I'm getting very technical there, if you pardon me, but you know what I mean? You're not actually sort of physically going like that to tap in the temperature, because again, on this car, look, you get knobs for the temperature, you get knobs for the fan, and you get a knob for the volume. I love it. It's just full of knobs, this car. It's perfect. So getting back down here, on your scroll button here, you've got a menu button, And additionally, you've got 2 selector buttons here. Now, even on the menu button, while you're driving along, you can scroll between your nav, your map, you can go into your into your telephone system, you can go into your radio, you can go into your tunes or whatever, set up the sound, and that's all done just by twirling the knob around. Love it. And if you do want to swap while you're driving, say into your nav mode like that, just push the button forward, down for the telephone. Once you memorise that, don't even need to look down. Just straight up into nav, carry on. Over here I know I've got the radio, and then I've got all my bits and pieces I can change over here on this lovely digital cluster that you get with the Q2 as well. Right, let's take a good look over here in the centre just to see how it's all set up. So you've got this little cubby here underneath this sort of lift up. It's got an adjustable height on it. So it's quite a nice shelf to put your arm on there. It's very comfortable. The actual pocket itself is rather small. You're not going to get much in there, but there is a USB in there for charging. So if your passenger's sitting there and they want to plug in, they can plug in and charge. No wireless charging in this particular car. You do get another USB up the front there, and there is a 12 volt over there as well, and a double cup holder at the front. I find these a little bit, they're in an awkward position, that cup holder. If you put your cup in there, and you will also find you can't get 2 large cups in there. So again, it's sort of kind of built more for the driver, I feel. I mentioned down here, you've got your different buttons here for change. You've got a back button there. So if you are in a position that you don't want to, select a certain thing, you can actually push the back button and it will go back. You've got your electronic handbrake here, and you've got your rear camera and beepers adjustment button here as well. So that's if you've got the rear camera, obviously, because that's, again, that's on a different trim level. This particular car's got it. Let's take a look at the steering wheel. I love the steering wheel on this car. I did say that at the beginning. On the right hand side is all your media. So you've got your nav button over here, you've got your star assign button as well, so you can assign a command to that button, which is really good. You've got your telephone adjustment there, you've got your ask Audi button there, oh, I'm driving along, I need petrol, and push that and say, where's the nearest petrol station, and it'll pop up and talk to you and things like that. It's just really good. It's a bit like Siri or Alexa, you know what I'm talking about. And then you've got left and right on your tunes or on your tracks, so you can go different radio stations, and then your volume up and down there. So you've got a volume button over there and a volume button over there. So either way, you can do it both hands if you want. Left hand side of the steering wheel, well, this is more the menu section on the actual digital cluster. So you can scroll up and down, change your radio stations if you're in the radio setting. Then you can just go across one, take you into your computer, or in this case now I've gone into the map, and then you can zoom in and zoom out on there. Really nice to having the map between the tachymeter and the speedo as well. I like that. Now if you want to reduce that and have a full map across, if you push view, look at that, it goes right the way across. Really, really nice. And then just push the back button, you can go straight back into the view button. It's all so intuitive. Right, so on your entry-level car, I mentioned you get cruise control. Cruise control's down there. Again, dead simple setup. Little button on the end there. Push the button and lift up, and that will set the temperature. Set the temperature. That'd be good, wouldn't it? Just push it in and set it up. I want 75 degrees. Push it in, set it up, and it will set the speed that you're actually going over there. To the right-hand side over here, he says, blushing, having got that wrong. You've got your lighting button over there, so you can put it onto auto, or you can just set it as you want, side lights or main beam, main headlights, and you've got your fog light button down there as well. Additionally, to the right of that, you've got a nice little button. You can push it in and it pops out, and you can actually set the luminosity on your control, on your panel here, right the way across. I like that because at night sometimes, if it's really bright and you're on a long journey, it can be a little bit tiring on your eyes. Again, over here, we mentioned about the buttons here, the knobs, which I love. Don't forget, with your standard Audi Q2, your entry-level car, you will get aircon, but you won't get dual zone climate control. That's another couple of trim levels up, so just bear that in mind. But we've got our traction control button here on and off if you want to do it. Again, we've got our parking button up there. You can turn the cameras on and off. Auto stall button over there as well, so that stops it, when you're getting traffic, save you a little bit of fuel. Does annoy me sometimes, keep starting and stopping all the time, but I suppose it's there for the, to keep the climate going and all that, the eco version, eco-friendly people. I like it, so it's there. With this car, we've got heated front seats as well. I've got mine on at the moment because it's rather cold here in the UK at the moment. To the left here, you've got your different modes. So you've got modes on here. You've got 4 different modes. You've got efficiency, comfort, an auto mode that selects it for you, and a dynamic mode. That's your 4 main modes that are pre-programmed. And then, I'll push it again, you've got an individual mode. So you can actually take bits of each of those and set it up how you like to drive this car. really nice. So 4 modes, and the 5th one is your individual mode. Let's have a look in the glove box. I love the finish on this as well, guys. Look at this, very nice finish, very soft, really lovely sort of it's quality, and you know, nothing that I'm not surprised about, as it's an Audi. We've got a large owner's manual, unfortunately. This does annoy me. Why we have to keep having these, I don't know. Most of the time, if you need to say, I need to know how to change a fuse on an Audi Q2, you're not going to sit for half an hour looking through this book. Look how big this book is. This absolutely amazes me. Look at all this. We don't need this anymore. If we didn't have to print this and produce this, you know, this thing to put it in, one, it would probably help with, you know, the eco-friendly people. We wouldn't have to produce all this, which obviously gives a load of carbon or whatever it is. And 2, you could probably have a spare wheel for no additional extra cost, and you get a loads more space in your glove box because you wouldn't have to keep that in there. Just don't get it why we keep producing these, as you can see in there. At the end of the day, guys, I know I rant and rave about certain things, little things that niggle me. One thing that's not going to niggle me is to get this out on the road and give it a test drive. Let's get it out on the road. Let's talk safety aids. Let's talk those extra packs that we're going to get and see what we think of the Audi Q2 when we're driving it. When you get out on the road in the Q2, first thing you're going to notice is just how quiet it is, how comfortable it is. It's got a fantastic peripheral vision all the way round here, loads of glass. I love the way the mirrors have been sighted. They're perfect. You've still got a gap behind them that you can see through, and when it comes to parking, manoeuvrability, that is essential. Trust me, you need that little bit of gap there that you can see down there. I do find these pillars a little bit obtrusive. They're not the thickest, but they kind of just cut your vision out on the corners when you're coming up to a junction. I think it's just the angle at which they're shaped. I don't think it's the actual thickness themselves. But generally, all-round comfort and driving of this car, absolutely amazing. Just going to check the fuel efficiency on that, and you can do that by scrolling across on the menu like that to the memory, the short-term memory for, there we go, and I'll push that like that. We're currently getting 35.6 around town. I think that's pretty good for a car that's, this is the 1.5 litre 4-cylinder petrol engine. It's got this 7-speed S Tronic gearbox that we mentioned earlier. 35.9 around town, pretty good. Out on a run, I would imagine you're going to be up in the mid-40s, which is pretty much where Audi say this car should be, between 40, 42 to the gallon. Not bad for a 1.5 engine. Impressed with that. Then there's a couple of bits I'm not impressed with, bits and pieces that you have to pay extra for in this car. For example, you remember I mentioned earlier about the dual zone climate control. Well, that is an extra 550 UK pounds. To be honest, the entry level car comes with aircon. You don't pay any extra for that, so just get the aircon. If you want dual zone aircon, then fine, but do you really need it at the end of the day? Save the 550 and invest in a couple of the other nice bits and pieces that Audi actually offer with this car. For example, wireless charging for your Apple device, extra 200 UK pounds. That I think is worth invested in. You always forget the lead, you know what I'm saying? You get out and you're like, oh, I forgot I need to charge my phone. If you've got wireless charging, just pop it in there and it gets charged up straight away. So I think that's definitely worth investing in. Another thing, I love privacy glass on a car. I just think it sets it off really nicely. On this car, I did mention when we were around at the back, it is an extra. It's an extra 375 UK pounds, but definitely something I would personally have. Not only does it look nice, but during the summer it keeps it a little bit cooler, and it stops, intrusive prying eyes into the actual car itself. So all in all, it's a pretty good thing to have, and I would definitely invest in that. On top of that, I think one of the big things that everybody should invest in with this car is the sound and comfort pack, which is an extra 1,200 UK pounds, and for that you will get heated front seats. Essential, I think, personally. I love a hot bum, darling. We all do during the winter. So I think that's definitely one of those that you should be invested in. You get the heated seats. You also get the front parking beepers and a reverse camera. Yes, a reverse camera up here, which looks nice, doesn't it? I mean, it works. That's what you need. It's good for reversing. I know you're saying, well, we got the reverse beepers, AJ. You get those as the standard. Yes, you do, but it's nice to have the front beepers as well, because parking this car, obviously it's going to be used as a family car. You're going to do quite a bit. I was imagining you're going to be going shopping and having and don't forget you get Audi's cross traffic alert system as well. So that all comes as part of that. So you've got front beepers, rear camera, that's included. You get the upgraded sound system. Got to have your tunes in this car. You get a B&O sound system with this car. absolutely stunning. And I think, you know, I've played around with the sound system in this car. You can wire up, you've got the Android mirroring, and also you've got your Apple Play, so you can play all your tunes on this, which is really nice. It's got a graphic equaliser built into that B&O system. Just sounds really nice, guys. So 1,200 UK pounds buys you the sound and comfort pack. I've mentioned all the other bits and pieces. I mean, simply driving this car is lovely. It does everything it says on the tin. You've got the mode button up there. We mentioned that earlier. I'm currently in efficiency mode. Put it into sport mode. You've got paddles. You can have a little bit of fun with this car. So once you've dumped off the family, so to speak, sent them home, you want to nip out and have a little blap round the country lanes, this car is actually really good for that. I quite enjoy driving it. It's one of those cars, I think, it's got the practicality. Inside, it's massive. It just feels a lot bigger. You feel like you're driving a much bigger car. But outside, it's a very small, cute car that is easy to manoeuvre. And at the end of the day, you can get everything in the back here, including the kitchen sink if you have to. All in all, the Q2, fantastic drivability, fantastic car when you get it out on the road. Give it a test drive, guys. I think when it comes to Audis, the Q2 is definitely one of my favourites. It's kind of like, you know, it's got the package. It's got a little package with a big heart to it. And I'm going to be really sad to see the car go at the end of 2023. Hopefully Audi will resurrect this car in the next couple of years with something new and equally as exciting looking as this little Q2 is. Anyway, just to mention as well, a decent warranty with this car. You get 60,000 miles or 3 years as standard. If you want to top that up, and what I'm going to suggest is that if you are thinking of keeping this car for more than 3 years, like 4 or even 5 years, then speak to your Audi salesperson at the time of purchase, because they're doing deals at the moment. You can get like 4 years or 75,000 miles for £295 extra. You can actually go up to 5 years or 90,000 miles warranty for an extra £630 at the time of purchase. That's here in the UK, guys. I don't know about the rest of the world, so if you're watching us somewhere else in the world, just check with your Audi salespeople and they'll inform you. But I imagine it's going to be pretty similar wherever you are. You get 12 years anti-corrosion warranty, anti-perforation they call it these days. That's all your rusty bits underneath. Not that you'd ever get any rusty bits on an Audi, I doubt very much indeed. You get a 3-year paintwork warranty. That'll keep that lovely paintwork in tip-top condition no matter what, and you get 1 year's roadside assistance as soon as you pull off the forecourt. So you're pretty much covered with this car. I think at the end of the day, it's the kind of car that you need to go down and have a little test drive, because I've been surprised by this. When it first arrived, I was like, well, it looks bigger than what it should be, and inside, and you know, feeling it when it's out on the road. So it's very important. Give yourself a test drive. I think you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Guys, you've been watching me, AJ, on the Player YouTube channel. Thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed our little review of the Audi Q2. Don't forget, like, subscribe and comment. If you want to know anything else about the car, just pop it in the comment box down below and one of the team will get back to you. If it's not me, it'll be one of the team, and we will do it in due course because we're quite busy with replying to comments at the moment. Don't forget, if you want to subscribe, there is a subscribe button down there, but leave the bell unchecked and it will give you little updates and let you know whenever we put a video up, which we do quite often. And don't forget, we don't just do car reviews. So if you think we're just a car review channel, forget it. You saw the video at the beginning of this. We do all sorts of stuff. We do boats, we do interviews, we do hotels, we travel all over the place. So as much as we love doing car reviews, there's a bundle of other stuff there, and you might see something that you're interested in. And if you haven't got the bell sign unchecked, then you won't get a notification, so you won't know about it, and you'll miss out on it. In the meantime, what I wanted to say to you was, I want to give you something for nothing. It's called The Player, because we're not just the Player YouTube channel. We're part of a much bigger organisation. We're part of The Player. And The Player is a 200-page bookazine for guys. Yes, for us guys. It's got cars in there, boats in there. Oh, by the way, a bookazine is a hardback magazine. Just thought I'd let you know that. Now, I can't give you the actual bookazine itself, even though I'd love to, but it's probably more than my job's worth to give all those away free because they cost £100 each. But you can have the online version of that, which is absolutely identical. All you've got to do is go to www.theplayer.co.uk and just put your name in and your email. That's it. I don't want to know your inside leg measurement, what's the name of your first dog and all that stuff, passwords and entry things, and no, not interested. Name and your email. And then you can either download that, all 220 pages, or you can view it online at your leisure whenever you want. You can zoom in, zoom out, read it, turn the pages with your mouse or your finger, whatever you're using. It's all yours, and it's absolutely free of charge because you watch me on the Player YouTube channel. So head over there. I'm going to pull it up now just to help you. So I'll leave it down there. There you go. It's just popped in there. Leave it down there for a couple of seconds just to remind you. Guys, thanks for watching. I will catch you next week with something hopefully equally as good as that, or I might be somewhere else. Who knows where I'm going to be. I'll catch you next week. Thanks for watching, guys.